Hi everybody, this is Roger Daltrey and I'm here with another exciting unboxing video for you. Now I know in my previous unboxing video, the Lou Reed Original Album Classics Volume 1, I ended it by saying that it's going to be in a late October, early November time. So while I'm waiting, I thought I would do an unboxing of Foreigner, the Complete Atlantic Studio Albums 1977 to 1991. Now this is a box set that recently came out. It came out about 2 years ago. So I thought this was the right time to do it to celebrate its second anniversary coming out. And this includes all of their Atlantic record albums. So most of their albums. On the back cover we have the albums mentioned, and the first half are the expanded versions with bonus tracks of songs that were recorded live in concert or that didn't make the studio albums. And I'm sure a lot of them will be very good. And on the top there it says Foreigner, on the side it says Foreigner, it doesn't say there, that's just the barcode. And it's a very small box. I got this for €35, but I got €10 marked off this, so it was 7 albums for €25. What a bargain. So this is the first time I've ever seen a box set with 7 albums in it, and it's very good. Now, usually in unboxing videos I take the plastic off, but because I was dying to do this, I thought I would take it off and just see what the discs were like. Because think about it, every time I look at a box set, I look at the images, see what they're like, and I was wondering if the discs are the same, but they aren't here in this. Anyway, this video is dedicated to the following people: Conor Richardson, Peter Taylor, Ben Hackett and David O'Neill, who are part of the Foreigner tribute band. And so let's go through these albums individually, one by one. So when you open it up, I'll just get open. The replicas are inside here, and the sad thing is we don't get a booklet, but the music speaks for itself. So here we go. Number 1 was just titled Foreigner. 1977, I think it came out. And this is a really cool album cover. This was probably a good start to the band. It features 3 big hits that include Feels Like the First Time, Cold as Ice, and Long Long Way From Home, which is very cool. And disc, it looks very similar to the labels on the early Bob Dylan albums, especially that were not remastered at first. And of course, their lead singer, Lou Gramm, is one of the best singers of all time. In fact, I was watching his vocal range video, and his voice is very incredible. Easily one of my favourite singers of all time. And Mick Jones is a genius. Now, I'm not talking about Mick Jones from The Clash, because there's 2 different Mick Joneses. That could be alias Mick Jones, nearly. I'm talking about Mick Jones, a Foreigner. And this is one of the albums that were expanded in 2002, this is very good. Their second album, 1978 it came out, Double Vision. Now this one rocks. And it features a hit for them called Hot Blooded, and there's a nice instrumental on this called Tramontaine, and it's the only instrumental that Foreigner has ever done in their career. Here's the disc. A bit different to the first one, but of course not all the discs are the same. So that's Double Vision. Then original bass player Ed Galdery had left the band, and then Rick Wills became their new bass player, and then we come to the closing album of the 1970s, Head Games, 1979. The front cover is very funny. It has a woman sitting down on the urinals, even though you're supposed to sit down in the toilet there. And this is another one of the bonus expanded reissues, and I forgot to mention on the previous one, it had 2 live renditions of some songs, and this one only comes with 1 bonus track called Zalia. And back cover, Lou Gramm there looks a bit like Michael Hutchence of INXS nearly, with the long curly hair. And I'll just get the disc. A bit similar to the previous one, but this one is more lighter than the previous to the previous label. Then Al Greenwood and Ian MacDonald both left the band, and then they decided to go as a 4-piece, and then we come to the 1980s, and we come to the album that I know the most of, 4, 1981. And this album contains a few hits for them: Nightlife, Waiting for a Girl Like You, and it even includes probably their most famous song, Jukebox Hero. And that's the first song I ever heard by them, and it was probably the song that got me into Foreigner. Although I hadn't heard any other songs beforehand. And the disc, very different now to the ones prior to it. And what's very cool about the front cover is that they have the number 4, and usually when they do countdowns on cameras, they have like in fractions, so 5, they have the whole circle split into fifths and all that. And to date, this is the last album to be part of the 2002 expanded reissues. Then they took a short break, so a bit of a hiatus for about 3 years, and when they came back, they released Agent Provocator from 1984. And this album was nearly as good as 4. In fact, this album contains their signature song of all time, I Want to Know What Love Is. And the first track, I Love in Vain, is quite similar to the song Love in Vain by Robert Johnson, and which the Rolling Stones covered for the Let It Bleed album. What's very cool about the front cover is that I didn't know what it meant until when I tipped it over on the side, it meant the F for Foreigner. Same on the back. It's kind of like a diamond shape if you turn it on the back. And I loved the way that it's in the colours, like blue, red and yellow. If you change the yellow and red around, you get Romania. That's pretty cool. And then we come to the disc. Quite similar to the ones on the Atlantic Records on the Led Zeppelin albums, and the same for the Yes album, Close to the Edge. And to date, this is the last album to be part of the original album series of Foreigner. And as I mentioned in the ZZ Top video, they picked 5 albums, but for ZZ Top they randomized them. Then after that came Inside Information from 1987. Cool album cover, has the eye there, then the eyes on the back. And this is the only studio album to replicate a gatefold. So you see a picture of Dennis Elliott on drums, Mick Jones on guitar, Lou Gramm on vocals, and Rick Wills on bass. And a hit single on this would be I Don't Want to Live Without You. And it's a good title because people don't want to live without anybody because they'd be lonely. And the disc. It's very similar to the debut album. And as I said, on the debut album, those discs look very similar to the original Bob Dylan albums on the labels. It's very good. And that's when I lost interest in Foreigner after that, and the main reason was some of the band members left, like Dennis Elliott, who played the drums, although he is on the next one, and then of course Rick Wills on bass left as well, and then of course Lou Gramm left the band by that time, and that's what made me lose total interest in them. And so when they left, I just lost interest. If I hadn't bought this box set, I would have stopped buying the albums after that. So now we come to the last album on the Atlantic series from 1991, Unusual Heat. And this would probably be my least favourite album. And just here's the disc. Nothing much to say on this one because it mightn't be that interesting since Lou Gramm's not on vocals. But anyhow, there you have it. So that is Foreigner, the complete Atlantic studio albums, 1977 to 1991. They did have later releases. Well, they had 2 later releases, which were Mr. Moonlight from 1994, which had the return of Lou Gramm. And then they didn't record an album for another 15 years until they came back with Can't Slow Down from 2009, which didn't feature Lou Gramm on vocals. But overall, this is a pretty good collection. It's probably... This was an unrehearsed script, by the way, as I have stated, because I didn't know I was going to get this box set until I went to Swords one day and picked up some new runners, and this was probably probably an option to buy. And even if you're not highly recommended if you like good hard rock, especially from the late 70s and early 80s. Anyway, if you're not a crazy fan of Foreigner, it's worth buying this box set. And remember to subscribe to my channel, leave a comment below on what you think of Foreigner, the complete Atlantic studio albums 1977 to 1991, and stay tuned for Lou Reed Original Album Classics Volume 2 by the end of this month or by the beginning of next month. It's depending what day I go to town. Okay guys, Thanks very much. Bye bye and have a great weekend.